Within the reaches of Glens Falls, New York sits the Aviation Mall, a relatively modest mall on the northern edge of the Albany Metro. Although modern renovations have made it somewhat bland, the mall still hides some old-world surprises. Let's go inside and find them, shall we? In 1975, Aviation Mall would open its doors for the first time, spearheaded by the Pyramid Companies. Original anchors would consist of JCPenney and Denby's. At first, the mall would be small, but over time would become popular enough to warrant expansions, of which would bring Sears and Caldor to the scene. JCPenney would change stores in 1994, relocating to a much larger anchor pad in the mall. While JCPenney was upgrading space, this would leave a hole in its old place, which management addressed by converting it into more inline space, which would be filled in over time. That same year, TJ Maxx would come to the mall as a junior anchor. In 1998 would see the unveiling of an ambitious plan to expand the mall. Had it gone through, this would have tripled the mall's size and would bring in several big box stores, new anchors, and a 14-screen cinema. Although these plans were approved, management would hit some snags along the way, likely financial issues as they only followed through with big box spaces, of which were Target in 2004, then a Dick's Sporting Goods in 2005. In addition, Caldor would close shop in 1998 as the chain was in its twilight years, the rest of the chain following suit in 1999. Fortunately, Bon-Ton would pick up the slack and open up in its place. And speaking of Caldor and Bon-Ton, this is what they left behind. Too bad Ollie's doesn't want to open out into the mall. They would have the coolest mall court ever here. The only thing that'd make this court cooler is a fountain, or some kind of water feature. I imagine this mall would have had at least one way back in the day. Getting back to the history, fast forward to April 2018, and Bon-Ton would close alongside 41 other stores in the chain, preceding total liquidation. And later in November, Sears would follow suit, delivering a sucker punch to this mall. But to offset this, 2019 did see the arrival of Ollie's Bargain Outlet. Ollie's would come in to fill the space by Bon-Ton, though would not bother to open up any sort of a mall entrance. A shame, considering that court we just saw earlier. Passing 2020. What does the future hold for Aviation Mall? So far, no major plans have been announced for the mall as it continues to press on through the months. Occupancy has slowly dwindled, but otherwise, it's still overall business as usual. We'll have to wait and see what Pyramid will do, whom still owns the mall as of the making of this video. This mall is definitely one of the weirder malls in terms of design. The main corridor itself sorta zigzags through the different spaces, and has a strange mixture of modern blah architecture mingled in with more vintage work, like those ramps and stairs going down to the former Sears, as well as the brick planters and wood slat ceiling by Ollie's. Overall, while the rest of the mall is very plain and kinda boring, those two vintage spaces alone make visiting this mall worthwhile and then some. There are still major obstacles in this mall's way, most of which is the ever-growing death of retail. There was a period when I was thinking we might come out the other end with new chains and new businesses, but 2020 has snuffed most, if not all of that hope out. Add on the fact that over a third of all of our money was printed within the last year, and that there is currently a class struggle happening in the stock market, and on top of that, economic inflation is starting to creep into the luxury items. I have a feeling things are going to crash hard. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and we'll just keep going on through this. At least I hope I'm wrong. I won't stray too far into subjects like those, but it is something that should at least be acknowledged as we continue covering these properties. Malls are going to have to undergo an extensive reinvention if they intend to survive going forward, and a decent number of malls are going the path of mixed use, office spaces and services mingled in with traditional retail and restaurants. In some instances, even long-term residential space can be found. Perhaps the Aviation Mall could follow a similar path? There are still a couple things going for the Aviation Mall, and that is competition. Aviation Mall is still part of the main retail corridor in Glens Falls, with its nearest competition being the Wilton Mall down the freeway, and a small outlet strip up the freeway without any real anchors. All three of these properties are also far enough removed from the greater capital region to sort of coexist in their own market. I still believe that 3 malls are too many, especially when you consider the size of Aviation and Wilton, but that's besides the point. That's enough from me, though. We are nearing the end of the video. What did you think about the Aviation Mall? Love it? Hate it? Share your own thoughts down in the comments below, after liking the video and subscribing if you haven't already. With luck, I might be back in the area to cover more malls and maybe resolve a couple missing links. Additionally, I have plenty more malls in the backlog, waiting to be shared. Thanks for having me, Glens Falls. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the Aviation Mall farewell and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world.
Alright, Aviation Mall.
Bye.